Yeah, ready for takeoff.
All right, let's just go ahead and kick it off. Welcome back to the Trail Mix podcast, and today I got a guest with me. Pretty cool guy. He's
I don't know about all that.
somewhat of a rock star. He's a drummer for a band right here, started in Coleman County, Shallow Side. Some people may have remembered from way back in the day. Some people may have just caught on with the latest single. It's doing pretty good on the charts, I see.
Yeah, it's just keeping on climbing, just kind of a little bit of a slow climb, and then we had a little play on Octane, so that was always like super cool.
Yeah.
To have a station like Octane that's, such a giant in the industry, get behind a song and kind of push it, so like we're just kind of riding it out and trying to play as many shows as we can while we're doing it.
Yeah, that single being You're the Reason, and that is a pretty cool song. I watched the video, and I just gotta say that every video of yours I watch, you are just hammering the drum. I mean, going hard on the drum.
Yeah, man, I beat them like they owe me money, and I'm hoping one of these days my drums will get the memo and they'll just start spitting out like quarters every time I, drop it from the ceiling, just pop.
So, I see you do actually own a shirt too, by the way.
I do. I was recommended to wear a shirt for this one because I didn't. They said the mud from these trails would stain onto my nipples and I wouldn't be able to turn back from there. So
yeah. So you guys got a tour coming up.
Yeah.
Later, starting next weekend, well, I believe.
Yeah. It's starting on the 24th is when it starts, and we'll be starting in Kansas, Wichita,
and Kansas.
Playing a couple of headline dates on our way out, and then we're going to be linking up with our buddies in a band called Royal Bliss, and they're from kind of out west, and so we're going to be hitting through Washington, Idaho, Oregon, stuff like that.
That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we're hoping so anyway. So
if you don't mind, let's take it way back, because like I said, I like a good story.
Yeah.
And let's take it way back to when the band first started. Was Shallow Side the first band you were ever in, or was you in any bands before Shallow Side, or kind of how did you get started, I guess?
Well, it kind of evolved just because we started kind of jamming through high school, and then after we graduated, we're just like, well, we can't play sports anymore. Nobody's good enough to go to college and play sports, so that was kind of our outlet and stuff to do. And so we, just started jamming along, and then we'd find a party to go play somewhere. And then it kind of started spiraling from there, and then the cops would get called, shut the party down, and we're like, well, where can we play? Because nobody would have us. So we're, just throw another party, and it got to where the cops just would show up before it even got started and just shut us down. We're like, man, okay, fine, we'll find a bar somewhere.
Yeah, We'll do it the right way.
Yeah, and of course at that point you needed a band name, so we, for just a brief period of time, we went under the band name Sheon, and then so after we did that, we wrote a couple songs, and we're gonna go in and get our first ever professional recording, and we worked like all summer long and just was putting in all of our own money that we could into being able to go and record with this producer. It was a guy that we looked up to, at the time, from bands that we looked up to. So we're like, yeah, we're gonna go and record with this guy because he records, our favorite bands.
Right.
So we saved up all the money that we could and went and recorded. And he was like, "What kind of band name is that?" I was like, "Nobody's gonna like that. It's got an apostrophe in it. What are you doing?" And he beat us black and blue in the studio, and it was everything that we needed to hear, though, is because we were, just riding that kind of, friends and local scene high, of like everybody telling you,
right,
that you're doing great, and they just want to be friends with you, when something good happens. And then we go in with this guy, and he's just like, "You are trash, absolute trash. Here's what you got to do."
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to get that, you hear it from somebody in the industry versus just kind of making assumptions.
Yeah, of course, man. It's a lot different when you hear it from a producer versus, your Aunt Kathy over there telling you how great you are.
I think everybody's got an Aunt Kathy. I think my Aunt Kathy's probably going to watch this whenever I get it up.
Yep, and then be like, "Well, I guess I am too nice."
So
Yeah.
where did the name Shallow Side come from? Was it kind of a collaborative
Well,
spin-off, or?
Yeah, it kind of stemmed a lot in part from that experience of recording those two songs. Um, with it was a guy named Travis Wyrick, and he recorded a lot of the stuff from POD and a band called 10 Years, which especially in our early days we really were high on 10 Years, and so we were just kind of thinking about names, different names, and just kind of looking at the industry, and we knew we wanted to get out, and we wanted to tour, and we wanted to do all these things, had big dreams, but we just didn't know how to do it. And then we seen some of the other small and upcoming bands and stuff like that, and so we were just kind of envisioning the music industry and all these bands as kind of like the ocean, or just like a big massive body of water somewhere.
Right.
It was like we were in the shallow side, but we wanted to get out here and play with the big boys.
Okay, I like that.
But we just, so we're just deemed ourselves in the shallow side and rolled our sleeves up and got to work and hit the road and started touring as much as we could.
That's pretty awesome. So this was all basically right out of high school then?
Yeah, pretty fresh after high school. We had maybe a year or so of just kind of toying and tinkering around and trying to figure out what we were doing at all. And it, because we just started from absolutely zero, nothing. We didn't know anybody. We didn't know anything. We just didn't know at all. We just knew it was something we wanted to do, and we had to kind of roll our sleeves up and get after it. So that's pretty much what we did, and just kind of dropped everything. Everybody got rid of cars and apartments and everything, and we hit the road, and we were gone 10, 11 months out of the year.
That's pretty awesome. It sounds like everybody was kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
Let's buy into it 100%.
Yep.
Give it everything you can to make it work.
Oh,
so
yeah, that was pretty much it.
I guess you were kind of always pursuing it as a career of sorts.
Yeah.
Wasn't really an option not to.
Yeah, that was it. And we, started touring in our first tour or two. Oh, it was awful. We were told, oh yeah, deer.
Yeah.
Woo, yeah.
Better run around here. Getting close to deer season. Everybody take off.
Yeah, he's scatting town. Hey, we got two. Hey.
two little does out there.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to see out here.
Yeah, pretty little boogers.
So you set out on your first tour, just right away. Where was kind of the first place that wasn't a local venue for you?
I think probably the first place that we really started kind of playing more than once was a place. Yeah.
We got them trapped now.
They don't know what to do. It was a place up in Clarksville, Tennessee called the Warehouse.
Okay.
And actually it just shut down not too long ago, but that was one of the first places that we really started to kind of find ourselves a following and stuff like that.
And at this time, about how many songs did y'all have out? Y'all didn't have that. This was prior to Home Today, or was Home Today already out?
Yeah. This was prior to Home Today, and we put, when we went and recorded those songs with Travis.
Right.
We were still going on the name Sheon, and then that was when we realized, by recording these songs, we have to kind of get it together a little bit, as far as if we wanted to be serious about it, we have to have a band name that you can actually type in and Google, and something that people will remember.
Right.
And so
a lot of cover songs back then?
Kind of, sort of. It was more, we did play some covers and stuff, but we also were just really focused on writing songs, and we had no clue what we were doing, so we were trying to figure out how do you write a song and it not suck. So you got to write 15 or 20 of them, then you're like, okay, I think we're starting to get in the groove of it here. And so the first two songs that we released were called Crutch and Fear Ends Tonight. And we released that as we were basically launching Shallow Side in November of 2010. And then we started touring in March of 2011.
Okay, so whenever I seen y'all for the very first time was actually September of 2012 because it actually just come up in my memories yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys were playing. It was like a little battle of the bands at the fairgrounds up in Jasper. So
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. You guys really put on a show.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of the other bands just kind of left after you guys went on.
I'm not sure about that.
It was-
We played it, I think, twice out there at the Battle of
Yeah.
the Bands. That was always fun though.
Yeah. So so home today is kind of where you guys really settled down and wanted to get kind of a professional EP out.
Yeah, and that was where we first actually packaged a CD and was able to sell it.
So you guys wrote that here in Coleman, or is it?
Yeah.
I guess how did the songwriting go back then? Because you said it evolved a lot, got a lot better along the ways. But
Yeah,
back then was it just like a couple dudes in a basement with a?
Basically, yeah. So where the band started is about 10 minutes from where we are, maybe 15, right up in Bug Tussle.
Oh yeah.
Bug Tussle Mountain, and it was a little shed. It was our practice shed out back behind my parents' house, and we made a lot of noise, and we pissed the neighbors off really bad for a long time. And that's where we just would get together 2 or 3 times a week, just writing for 3 or 4 hours, jamming, trying to get tight, trying to figure out what we're doing.
It seemed like it usually started with a riff, or did it seem like it started with with words or a melody, or is it just y'all just kind of jammed it out?
Yeah, now it's a little different, and sometimes it starts with a riff, but back then I think mainly it would just kind of start with like a riff or just some jamming, just us just jamming, whatever, freestyling,
Right.
whatever comes to mind. Once we find something we like, then we'd start trying to build on that. But now, sometimes we'll just start with a concept and try to build around that. And the whole industry has just changed a lot since then. Technology's taken over, so we can actually write with we don't have to be together. We can
Yeah, I was gonna
write
ask. Now that kind of some of the band members have moved away and located a little different, how does songwriting go now? Is it a lot of virtual, like?
Yeah, and we can just utilize technology and just come up with a riff and
Record
just
parts, send it back and forth.
Yeah, send it through email, and then somebody else toss it on their computer, and they can start chiming in their 2 cents, or we can just kind of jam it acoustically, and then once we go into the studio, we know pretty much what we want to do. We just have to go in there and start laying it down in a professional setting. But
Where do y'all normally record at, studio-wise?
we've recorded in quite a few different places, but we started in Orlando with a guy named Evan Kaufman, and we recorded Home Today and Stand Up there with them, and then we started linking up with our buddies that we used to tour with, and kind of got into the production side of things, and it's called Red 13 Studios, and they're just outside of Boston.
Okay.
And so we started recording and shooting music videos with them, because they're kind of an all in-house. They do, produce music, and they shoot videos and just do, photography, and they just have a lot of cool things going on. And so we've done a lot of work with those guys, and we did the one EP with them, and then after that we went to back to Orlando with a different guy, a guy named Elvis Basquette, who's like just an absolute A-list producer.
Right. Well, I mean, with a name like Elvis.
Yeah, old Elvis, man. He's produced, like Chevelle and Incubus,
Oh, okay.
Stone Temple Pilots, Seven Dust, everything Alter Bridge has ever done. He's just got platinum records everywhere. So
Wow, that's
he's
crazy.
He's one of those guys, and we went and recorded Saints and Sinners with him, and down in Orlando. And then here lately we've been writing and recording with a guy named Chris Dawson and Jimmy Beatty, which is also formerly of a band that we used to tour with called Seasons After, and then after they disbanded, they started getting into production and everything too. And so we cut You're the Reason and The Worst Kind with Dawson and them. It's Aphotic Studios out in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
So we just kind of get in where we fit in.
Right.
And like it kind of depends on stylistically what you're shooting for. You know, of course, it's like who you want to go record the songs with, because you know naturally they're going to come out with a little different flavors. You know, depending on where you go.
So, is there any song that that you guys really started out with and thought it was going to go one direction, and then got in to record it, and the producer was just like, "Hey, let's just completely let's change this from a slow song to a hard, heavy song or something like that." You know, just like completely flipped your script on it.
Yeah, I think that's happened quite a few times, but just nothing really off the top of my head.
I got you.
You know, kind of comes to mind, but a lot of times it's just because when you go in, you're starting with just a basic idea or maybe a concept, and you're trying to build all the pieces around it. That's when it can kind of more be like that, instead of just like, okay, I hear this one thing about this song that's cool, but let's change everything else up. That just kind of destroys the song. But if you're just kind of starting with a rough draft of something, then it's a lot easier to kind of for it to take a totally different direction. And normally when it does, everybody in the studio is like, oh yeah, we found it that time, yeah.
You know when it hits.
Yeah, when
That's
it drops.
awesome.
Yeah, it's just like a party. Everybody just jumping up and down and high fiving. That's what we're looking for, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Do y'all still play a lot of any cover songs? Because whenever now y'all have got such a wide range of songs that you've recorded and released as singles and EPs. You know, y'all got easily a full set. You know, your own music.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've recorded a few cover songs and released them. So we'll kind of we'll play those live, and of course it's once you record and put out a song that's a cover song, it's almost like it's one of your own also. Right. And so we'll play Renegade and the Separate Ways or Jukebox Hero and stuff like that. And sometimes we'll be contracted to play like a really long set, and it's more kind of like a party type vibe crowd. It's just you got to gauge it on the crowd too. Because some crowds won't. If you play a cover, they hate it.
You're right.
And then sometimes a lot of crowds, they won't pay any attention until they hear a cover.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing like for a bike week or something like that, you got to naturally lean on some covers a little bit more than you would naturally. But so we just kind of mix it up, and
I got you. Kind of gotta feel it out.
Yeah, we play acoustic shows and stuff too, and so we'll just kind of try to keep our acoustic stuff a little more peppy though, and like fun. So we'll play some pop songs or some 90s country songs or something like that. Just try to keep the energy up and everybody dancing and clapping, even though we have acoustic guitars.
Right.
And I'll set up a little small drum set. It just kind of makes it more fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Every show I've seen of y'all's has been a lot of fun. It seems like the crowd really enjoys y'all's energy on stage.
Yeah, that's what we shoot for, man. We try not to suck. That's our number one objective.
Yeah.
Try not to suck up there.
That's like
it took us a long time to figure out just how to do. Now, how to get good, we still haven't figured that out, but we're working on it.
You guys definitely got a good hold on it, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We still got them sleeves rolled up and still grinding. So.
Right. So did it take a while for it? You kind of hinted at it earlier. Everyone kind of bought into it, got rid of what they could, and pitched in.
Yeah.
Did it take a while before it become sustainable? Touring all the time and going to studios.
Yeah, for sure. It's just because it's a business. Squirrel.
Yep, squirrel.
So, just like any other business, you have to build that business, and you're going to take a lot of losses before you see a victory.
Right.
And so it took a lot of that just to be able to keep ourselves, to be able to float on the road. But one thing is we always just had really a resilient mindset when we first started touring, because we didn't want to tuck our tails and come back home and say we failed.
Right.
So we're like, we got to do something. We were stranded on the road. Had all these shows that were supposedly booked, and it turns out they were complete and utter bullshit, every single one of them.
Oh, wow.
And so we're, calling the venues. They'd never even heard our name, and they were like, no, that's actually, we have somebody else playing here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. And we're like, oh God. And we're in West Virginia. At that point, we finally found out that everything was completely false.
Oh man, that's insane.
And at that time, we didn't have Home Today. It wasn't out yet. We hadn't recorded it. We were just out with Fears Tonight and Crutch. And we went to the Best Buy or whatever store it was in the mall there, and we bought a stack of CDs, and we just started burning them and walking around the mall and selling them for $2 a piece.
Wow.
And that was the only way that we were able to get gas, just to be able to get to a show that we had just booked ourselves for a door deal that we know we're going to draw 2 people. So
it's pretty insane how humble beginnings, turns into what you guys are working with now.
Yeah, man, it was a struggle, but we had a choice to either do what we wanted to do and do what it took to do it, or just tuck tail and go home. And that's what we chose to do, was stick it out and find a way to do it. So we'd walk around, and that was kind of a part of our daily routine. We would stop by the mall at least for a few hours every day on the way to a show or just on an off day, and we would just walk around that mall until we got kicked out. Selling CDs. Sometimes we'd make $100, sometimes we'd make $150, sometimes we'd make $20. Sometimes we'd just get kicked out because they'd already told us yesterday not to come back. We're like, well, we ain't got enough gas money to get to the next place, so we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, I've definitely, it's a little different now with social media. You get to see a lot more of the stuff, but
Yeah.
You guys have definitely had your fair share of trouble on the road. I've seen several bus breakdowns and getting stranded. And what's probably you think that was probably one of your worst experiences on the road, or?
We had this RV at one point, and that thing put us through more hell than I care to admit. It would break down pulling out of the garage at the shop as soon as we got it fixed. The exact same thing they just fixed, and it would just break again. And it was just, that thing put us through so much. A lot of it was out west, and everything's so far away, so even when you get towed, the bill would be just outrageous.
Yeah, and then you're kind of at their mercy on timelines and everything else.
Yep. It was a lot to deal with, but we've had vehicle troubles from everything. We started out in a Suburban, and then pulling a trailer, and the trailers, they're nothing but a headache as well. They always tear up. We've had a lot of that, and then there before COVID, we were traveling around in a Prevost bus and a trailer, and then that thing started having issues too, and those things are just crazy expensive just to fire up the ignition. To help get the oil changed on that thing's several $100s.
Might want to pick your feet up through here. Might get a little deep.
It might get a little muddy.
It's not too deep.
Nah, we're doing good.
So what does touring look like now versus back then? Is it still a bus and trailer, or
it's a lot more beautiful now than it was back then. But now we're since COVID, and then that was kind of the last of the days of the bus there, and so then we went and we got a 15-passenger van.
Okay.
And then we just started looking at the shape of our trailer, because we'd put that thing through the absolute ringer too. And we decided that we could condense everything down and just streamline it and just be in the van, just the van, and keep our crew and everything minimal, and kind of utilize hotels, at the night, at the end of the night, instead of, sleeping on the road or whatever, which sometimes we still have to do that, but we just we try to work a little smarter and not as hard now.
Right.
But it's still really hard work. we're starting to get a little bit older now, so we want to work a little less hard. try to not exactly just beat ourselves to death doing it.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that you learn as you get older.
Yeah. You learn from all the stupid stuff you do.
Yeah, you can put in just a little bit more work and a little bit more money on the front end and be a lot more comfortable down the road.
Yeah.
So, with this tour kicking off and everyone living in multiple states, how do you guys actually start a tour like this? Because this one starts in, you said Kansas, right?
Yeah. So
y'all usually like everyone
we'll meet
up somewhere?
Yeah, we'll meet at a central location, and then sometimes that's normally just wherever the van is, and sometimes it'll be around here, or sometimes it'll be somewhere else, and then we'll just kind of meet up, and we got to kind of coordinate that. So that's different from everybody being here, like when we started. But
yeah,
it's still just not a thing that necessarily causes problems. You just got to plan for it a little more, and then just show up, everybody high five and say, "Let's go, boys!" Woo!
So how long is this tour gonna go? I think I've seen dates out to October, maybe.
Yeah. This one's gonna be wrapping up on the, I believe, the 1st.
Okay.
And then just a complete nationwide drive back from Oregon all the way, through here, then all the way to the East Coast out in South Carolina, and then up the East Coast for Sam and Cody. So that we'll play our last show on the 1st. We'll be home by October the 7th, maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Maybe we'll make it home in time to trick or treat. Who knows?
Yeah. Is there anybody on that travels with y'all that is the bad luck guy? Because I'll be the first to tell you, I'm the bad luck guy.
Bad luck guy. I feel like it's me.
I feel like it's you. Well, that's
we're both bad luck out
a
here
bad combo
on the trails. Yeah. Here we are.
It just seems like sometimes it's just anything that could go wrong will go wrong.
Oh yeah.
This morning I got in this to pull it up on the trailer, and the power steering didn't work, and I said, "Oh my goodness, it's worked all week, been just fine." And then the day I go to do this, it's gonna mess up. But
yeah,
here we are. It's working fine now.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What'd you have to do to it?
Literally turned it off and turned it back on.
There you go.
Sometimes it's the easy solution.
Must be that engineering you got going on there. It's like, I know how to fix this.
Yeah, well,
have you unplugged it?
Yeah, exactly. That was the number 2 thing I was going to try.
So how many times have you rolled this thing?
I have rolled this thing. This particular razor has been on its side about 5 times maybe. But never like end over end. Just kind of like you get a little too off camber and you just lay over.
Yeah.
It's nothing too bad that you can't just flip it back over and keep going.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about You're the Reason being on the charts.
Yeah.
Do you guys really put a lot of weight in that? I mean, I know it's awesome that it's on the charts, but do you guys kind of get hung up if a song you expect it to do good and then it doesn't do as well, or?
Not really, no. Just I think simply because it took so many pitches of songs that we thought were gonna do great that we just couldn't get to do anything, and a lot of that was just because there's so much of this just industry connection. So obviously the more you do it, the more people you start to acquire, and who to work with, who not to work with, and how to go about things. So I mean, it's definitely great, and it definitely moves the needle on a lot of things. But it's just because a song is charting is not the end all be all, or just because the song's not. A lot of times songs will just blow up out of nowhere. Years later. Like Ghost just had that song that they'd had released for like a couple of albums, and then it just blew up and went viral on TikTok.
Right.
And just like a lot of artists are kind of seeing success from different places other than charting, and then they start charting, because at that point, if a song goes viral, then radio's just going to start playing it because they don't have a choice to, because it's what's popular.
Right. I just you know, YouTube is kind of the same way. I mentioned I make YouTube videos, and it's kind of the same way. There's a lot of parallels between projects you put a lot of time and effort into, and really you're like, I really did something really good, and then it's just like the algorithm will just squash it. You know, and nobody will ever see it, and it'll get 100 views, which I'm thankful for all 100 of those people.
Yeah.
But it's something that's like sometimes you're just like, I thought that one was gonna do good.
Yeah, it's like why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had that a few times, but then once it happens a few times, you're like, okay, it's just sometimes there's just nothing you can really do.
Yeah, and you gotta not get hung up on it. I mean, that's not the reason I do it, and I know that's probably not the reason y'all do it. Y'all do it because y'all love making music and want to provide your families with a stable income while you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's just kind of some of those like outside factors. It's cool. That it's charting and it can help, grow a lot of aspects, but it's, that's just because the song doesn't chart or something like that isn't, it's not going to make us be like, okay, we quit.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people do that though. They kind of, like you said, it's kind of a slow roll in the beginning. It's unless you, like you said, happen to get lucky and have something go viral right off the hop. But
yeah, which is not good odds, really. But it does happen, so.
Yep. Is there a, sorry, these questions are kind of all over the place,
love it,
but that's kind of where my brain is right now. Is there a favorite venue you have played at, or it's like a place that's got a really good vibe or a really good crowd?
It's tough to just pinpoint one. There's a lot of really cool festivals and everything we've been able to be a part of, and various different like military events. We played, a naval base that was just incredible one time on the 4th of July.
That's got to be insane.
And I think it was actually Royal Bliss was on that show with us, and then Theory of a Dead Man was the headliner, so that was an incredible night. And then we played a show with Blackstone Cherry not too long ago. Yeah. At a Marine base, and that place was absolutely just one of a kind, on fire, crowd surfing the whole time, people just yelling, going crazy.
I can imagine they get fired up at military bases.
Yeah, that place was insane. I got up there and I started tossing out crayons to everybody, so they loved that. I was hoping they wasn't going to kick my ass, but they actually loved it, and it was well received. They're like, all right, this band got jokes, huh? Oh, yeah, gotcha. Thank you. And then we would have some great conversations, and we could actually show gratitude to them for for what they do for us,
right,
and for all of us, and so that was just a great experience. We were gifted some really special coins there, and it was a great time. But as far as just venue, we just play all over, and sometimes we'll play in some places that are not the best, and sometimes we'll play some really cool joints. But
what makes a venue a good venue for you? Just the layout of the stage, or?
I think that has a lot to do with it. The sound system, and also a lot of venues just have a built-in kind of fan base of their own, so they're not as worried as much about who's playing there. They just know that pretty much every show the venue has is a killer show.
Right.
So people just they buy whatever shows they can take off work for and go to, and they don't even know the bands, or when they buy the tickets they start looking them up, and then, so I love to hear stories like that of people that didn't know who we were, but they bought tickets, and then they started checking us out, and then they show up and they're singing our songs and buying all of our CDs physically and shirts and stuff, and that's always just a super killer feeling when people they're there just for the show because they just want to cut loose.
This is deep. Let's just go around this one. I didn't.
Seeing a bunch of frogs out there swimming in that one.
I did not bring my arm floaties, or I would totally go through it.
Yep, we could take a pause, go skinny dipping real quick.
So do y'all still do a lot of meet and greet after shows, or?
Yeah, we do. We normally do them before shows.
Okay.
And after the shows and everything was a little bit more of the days of when we had the bus,
Right.
which made that a lot easier because you got a bus you can go to, but it's a lot tougher to party in a van than it is in a bus. So we normally do them before, and
I'm
then
sure y'all still manage to party in the van.
Yeah, a little bit, but we'll have parking lot parties, break out the acoustics and everybody be hanging out, doing their thing, and we'll just be jamming and playing and singing, just whatever it is. That's always cool things, just random acoustic jams, or sometimes it'll be before the show. When, people's waiting in line, we'll just show up and be like, all right, let's go party with the crowd right here. They're waiting in line, let's go. You got your acoustic on your back, just break it out, let's go get them. We'll go make some friends. Then next thing you know, as soon as the doors open, they're just like, I love that. Here's you guys a beer.
Yeah.
Let's throw down. I'm like, I love that. I'm ready. There's definitely a lot of really, really positive and good to go along with the bad, though. So it's not all bad. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer over here. There were some struggles, but lots of them. But there's just been the good outweighs the bad 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And it's beautiful to be able to do it also, and be able to hear the stories of people and how the music affects them and helps them, and you hear a lot of just really, really stories that just hit you right in the heart, and to be able to have an effect on that is definitely a beautiful thing, and especially in a live setting, when somebody's worked, all week and saved their money just to be able to do that, or drive a few hours just to be able to do it. It's a beautiful thing more times than not.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, outside of music, is there when you're not being a professional rock star, you got any hobbies or anything you like to do to unwind?
I do. I like to do anything outdoors, so naturally this was right up my alley.
Oh yeah.
I love to do that. I actually kind of enjoy fishing sometimes. I just suck at it really bad.
Same. I live right near Smith Lake, and
Yeah.
and I could be in a line of 10 people pulling out fish every cast, and I would be the one sitting there just casting all day.
Yep. That is me for sure.
Which my thing is, I don't have a lot of time to learn all the ins and outs. What lures, how to, if the fish are deep or if they're shallow, all that stuff.
Yep, that is me too. Just that, anything involving water. I think I'm part dolphin.
Part dolphin.
So anything involving water, you can pretty much sign me up.
Well, the next podcast we'll get do in the middle of summer. We'll get the boat out then.
There you go. I love that, man. It's like the greatest podcast ever right here, man.
Yeah. I hope it's a pretty unique spin on podcasting, because like we were talking about earlier, podcasting is really in it. To me, it's a really awesome way to get to know someone on a little bit more personal level. Kind of, a lot of people know you from meet and greets after shows and seeing your social media, but just getting to kind of hear a long format conversation, really kind of you learn a lot about yourself and the band and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's there's a reason, why this world's, as popular as it is right now, just because people were kind of craving something different from reality TV shows. They wanted actual reality.
Yeah.
And hear people's, thoughts or opinions, or, or to get their news from somewhere that wasn't CNN, so there's just so many different, like, subgenres of podcasting that it's just, people love it, and there's, damn good reason they do. Because it's authentic, and that's what people want, is just to not be force-fed just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. So, Any other hobbies, or is that about it?
I love doing metal fabrication.
Oh, really?
Actually, fancy enough. Yeah, that's definitely a hobby of mine, and there for a little while was working for a company around here, doing that and building docks and stuff like that on Smith Lake. And that was always just a blast and a joy too. But even just while I'm at home, naturally doing that for a little while, I got me a little weld machine. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that too. I got a little, it's just a little Harbor Freight welder, nothing special.
Yeah, that's me, just a little titanium there.
Yeah, just stick a couple pieces of metal together. It's a good skill to have too.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you never know.
Yep. Need to repair your old razor right here. You got your little handy dandy machine.
I've definitely welded parts back together, which I try not to use them. I try to keep them as spares, but
yeah.
I've got a couple tie rods and even an axle.
Yeah, well, there you go. Heck yeah, man. So I definitely love doing that, and even kind of introduced my woman to it, and she loves doing it also. So sometimes, we'll just kind of go and get some random knickknacks and paddywhacks, or one time we just went and bought a bunch of chain link and just shaped up this little cactus thing, and I just kind of showed her the little, just how to kind of tack it up and everything. And she put the hood on, got down on the ground, started rolling around, tacking it up for me and everything. So we just kind of do some little projects like that, and it's fun, and I enjoy it too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So kind of like, I don't want to say art, but because some people use that kind of derogatory, but more or less, kind of a way to express yourself.
Yeah.
Just make cool shit. That's the way I like to sum it up.
Yeah, some people like to sew and do stuff. I like to mess around with some metal, or build something out of wood or whatever.
But so I feel like the obvious answer here is your own music. But what kind of music do you actually listen to whenever you're not blasting Shallow Side?
Oh man, yeah, that's something I very rarely do.
Really?
Listen to our music, just because I play it enough and all that. But I'm fairly versatile. I've been actually listening to a decent bit of country here lately, and kind of big on Billy Strings and that whole new resurgence of bluegrass.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But
I think the Oliver Anthony thing kind of brought a little more attention to that genre.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of the little bit more folk type music, and it's a.
Well, you want to talk about someone just hitting a lick? That was that was crazy the way that.
Boy, his life completely changed just overnight. That was the most nuts thing I've ever seen.
I think it goes back to like what we were talking about earlier, the authenticity. I mean, it was just a guy with a cell phone making a video of him singing. And
talking about stuff that, more people than not probably feel the same way.
Yeah. We won't dive too deep into that here, but I just... Uh-oh.
Yeah, hey,
that was
steady.
That was two wheels.
Yeah, two-wheeling it. We doing it out here.
I've never been on this trail, and I'm not gonna lie.
First time for everything.
A little rougher than I was expecting.
Yeah,
if I'm being quite honest. I think we got it though.
Yeah. But it takes a long time to kind of visualize your shot on where you're gonna.
Oh yeah.
The path you're gonna take.
100%. Whenever I ride with anybody who's like just got one or is kind of new, and we're doing something like maybe like that where it's a little bit sketchy.
Yeah.
I try not to be super pushy about spotters. Like, those Jeeps earlier, there was a guy out and he was kind of helping them.
Yeah.
Kind of go this way.
Yeah.
I try to really let people learn it on their own.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
like you said, it's a feel thing. You kind of get a feel for what's going on. But sometimes if I see that they're gonna like roll it or hurt themselves, I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Maybe we go this way a little.
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that. Other than that, let them go out and figure it out.
Yeah.
Go make some mistakes and learn.
Exactly. It's the easiest way to learn just about any skill is just to do it and suck at it, and then like you said, try not to suck.
Yep, same thing with the band. You gotta suck for a while. I think Dave Grohl said a little bit about that.
Yeah.
He's talking about you gotta suck for a while. That doesn't mean stop doing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man, this place is crazy. I love it.
Well, you know, if I'm being quite honest, I think I covered everything I had in my notes to cover.
Yeah, well, heck yeah, man. We
But,
can shoot the shit every how long. I don't care. I'm here for the party, man. Along for the ride.
Yeah, I think we'll probably just go ahead and wrap it there if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sounds great, man.
I definitely appreciate you coming on,
dude.
man.
Appreciate you having me, man. It was an absolute pleasure. Freaking fantastic time here in Bremen, Alabama.
Yeah, and make sure you guys check out their song, You're the Reason, and catch them on tour. I'll try to throw the tour dates up for you.
Yeah.
And which they have that all on the Shallow Side Facebook and Instagram page, I believe, as well. So
Stay tuned for more. We have plenty of new music, and we'll be getting ready to get that to you soon, and hopefully an album full length coming soon also. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of having to listen to my long-haired redneck self talk too much.
all right, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.
Yes. Freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a lot of fun.